Fewer than 1% of women experience a major complication during the abortion process.
14,000 women have abortions each year because of incest or rape.
88% of abortions in the U.S. are done in the first trimester.
The risk of death from childbirth is 10 times higher than the risk of having an abortion.
So basically we just went into Planned Parenthood White Plains and the waiting room was very crowded, and there's so much security as you have to go and you have to like give ID, and there's like all these like locked rooms. And we talked to a woman in education and training, and she said that she can't give us any answers to our questions until she talks to her manager, because Planned Parenthood is very controversial and easily targeted. Like, how do you think religion plays a part?
I mean, it depends on how you believe in religion, because if you believe in religion and if that's the scriptures in the Bible, you know what I'm saying, then that's your religion, that's what you believe, you know what I'm saying? So if you believe that it's wrong, it's wrong. I honestly believe that it's wrong.
Okay.
Right?
Do you believe that women should have a choice over their own body and have the choice of abortion if they're in need of one?
Well, I believe that, you know, everybody deserves a chance at life, and you know, if you're not ready to have a child, then you shouldn't be having sex without the proper protection. So don't put yourself in that position.
Okay, so do you believe that abortion should be government funded?
It all depends on the situation.
Okay.
Well, I think people should not be told what to do in the first place, and people who want to get it should get it. They shouldn't be judged based on that, and it shouldn't affect anything else. And people who don't agree with it should respect it. That's what I. Because of religion, many things are seen as evil or that makes someone a bad person. Yeah, so very outdated. People should really be more open-minded, more caring, more understanding of others.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so after going to Kmart and the parking lot of Tarrytown, we found out that a lot of people find it pretty uncomfortable to talk about abortion, and they oftentimes won't even want us to point the camera at their feet because it's such a controversial topic.
And we just asked a woman in the parking lot,
car
and
alarm
she was
going off.
willing to answer questions, but when we told her that it would be on camera, even if we were just pointing out her feet and like not her face in it, she still didn't want to answer them. So
Yeah, so
we're headed back
we're
to
headed
ride.
I think they believe that when Christians use the argument about religion, I think it's more that they believe the fetus is alive, is like an actual human being. That's when they think life starts, where I guess the opposite argument would be when it starts when you're born, I guess. So I think that's kind of what they use, and I disagree. I'm pro-choice, but again, that's me, and you have the right to choose either which one. So,
Thank you. And then hospitals.
yes, because a lot of the people that need abortions can't afford abortions, because if you can't afford a baby, like, you really shouldn't be having one. And so I think that yes, to a point, they should be funded by the government. Not, of course, 100% funded, but Planned Parenthood does a lot more than just abortions. They do a lot with contraceptive and just normal women's health like across the going to those places, especially because abortions are such a small percentage of what goes on there.
That there are other reasons that like women should do it.
There's definitely other reasons. There are women that suffer with preeclampsia and women who have AIDS and HIV who do not want to give that to the child. There are people who with just certain genes that they don't want to pass on, whether it be cancer or I don't know, there's a plethora of things that you can pass on to your child that you wouldn't want them to have. But I think that in order to have a child, you need a man too. So I think if you're going to blame the woman for just being loose and doing this, like, you kind of need two to tango. So you can't blame one without the other. Especially with one who has a lot more control of getting someone pregnant. Because, like, why are you going to shoot at a bulletproof vest when you can just take the bullets out of a gun?
Yeah. We went into Al Dente and we like asked some of like the male workers at the counters, can you hear me? If they wanted to like answer these questions, and they immediately like pointed to one of the women in Al Dente. We don't want to say whether she works there, was like a customer, and was just like, oh, like I think you should be answering this. Just something to consider. Kind of weird how like some people are uncomfortable talking about it, but we just thought it was something to note.
Yes, because it wouldn't be fair for the child to like grow up in a like poor environment, and like they wouldn't be getting the necessary like what would it be, the necessary attention and resources that they should have gotten. Yeah, because sometimes like women have to like struggle to have a baby, and like the child like doesn't grow up in a well like environment. So yeah. Is that it?
And why so?
Because I think that it comes down to people having their own choices, and I think that like that's a choice that somebody has to make, and I don't think that everybody should have to pay for that if they disagree with that, if they disagree with abortion. I think that there are certain, like I think at certain points it should be illegal, like when the baby starts to have feelings after it's 8 weeks, after 8 weeks, and I think that after that time period, I don't think that you should ever be allowed to get an abortion, and I'm personally not for it, but I think that if somebody wants to do it, I think that's fine, but 80% of the people that get abortions are mothers over 40 with already 2 kids, and I don't agree with that. With a mother getting an abortion at 40 years old. I think it's a little different if you're like 21 or 22 and you can't afford to have a kid.
I think that women should have choice in their own body until it's the fetus can feel pain.
Okay, so
and it should be taxable.
So you agree that it's like to a certain point of like the like development of the fetus, like it's okay until a certain point?
I think Roe v. Wade has like a limit. I agree with that one. There's like 20 weeks where the fetus can feel pain, and that's what's like legally allowed. Where I'm against abortion.
Okay.
And I'm against abortion morally. I don't really agree with it, but I'm fine with people too. If somebody like a very ambitious young woman gets great grades, and then she has sex when unprotected. And this girl could be a doctor, and then say if we didn't have access to abortion or access to Plan B or any of these services, that woman could have to like give up all of her dreams and become really poor and just have to take care of this child. Because it's like really costly to get an adoption. There's a lot of reasons why you would get an adoption.
And then last for
I'm
like
against state funding for it.
okay, so you think that there should be federal funding but not state funding?
No, I'm against all funding.
Okay, could you speak a little more to that?
Essentially, I don't agree with any taxpayer funding going towards abortion. I don't really I'm for anything I think is debatable and controversial. I don't think that our taxpayer money should go for. The only thing I do agree with Planned Parenthood being funded, because Planned Parenthood, 98% of their services aren't abortion.
Okay. And then just last question, do you think that abortion should be a federal law or a state law?
I think we should be federally legal, because I think that places like Texas will make it illegal, and it will be harder and harder for them.
I definitely believe that like all life is sacred, but if it's like very early on, very like in certain months, then I think it is okay. But after like a certain month, like 3 months, I don't think you should be, because abortion could be from part-term abortion to like the very beginning to like the end, where like the baby's almost born. And abortion could happen. So I definitely feel like if it's early on, fine, but after that, you should keep it. It's someone else's life. There's definitely a lot of religions out there that I'm assuming are against abortion. I know me as a Catholic, I am against abortion, but this country is fine that I'm living against, and there's also some other people who are religious out there, like in the population. I'm pretty sure that if you're Christian, stick to your beliefs, that you should be against abortion. So the majority of the population should be. I'm assuming if you're a true religious person that you stick to your beliefs.
It kind of comes down to what is a life, and then you have to, it kind of depends on your definition of that. Scientists used to define life as single-celled organism, so if that's a life, then I guess you can't kill a life, but if you don't define life until it has its own thoughts, then that could be another issue. So I'm kind of torn on that. I don't think so. I don't think the government should really should be funding it. Now there's certain little loopholes, I guess, where it becomes a part of health insurance, but I don't think everybody should pay it if only women get to use the benefit. You know, so but like a condom's $1. You know, like do you really need to wait and then do all this mumbo jumbo? Plan B, if need be, $50 a pack at CVS. You could probably find that on the street for cheaper. So, does the government need to step in and make me pay for it? I don't know.